Aloha, glorious, beautiful family. It's Unity Grace here doing a little LoveStream drop-in. Just give everyone a little time to jump online and see who's in the field today. I think I'll share this to a few groups while we're doing that. Yes, Sology, 11 Galactic, the codes, 11 movement. All right, did a little sharing. Daniel, hi Daniel, Gabrielle, Susan, there you are. Guillerme, I want you to send me a private message and tell me how to pronounce your name properly. I wonder, am I saying it properly? Aloha. Alon, aloha. Jacqueline, hi beautiful beings. Hi, gorgeous ones. If this love stream is helpful, please share. Mr. Sandalfizi, aloha. Go to pureenergy.love for your high vibe music. Mr. Sandalphon, the DJ of love, universal love consciousness, playing high vibe music to keep your energy up throughout the day. Amy, hi. Aloha, Ilana. Hi, gorgeous beings. All right, well, let's just jump in. There's Wendy. Okay, we will do a little jump in. Sarah Moss, Anna Marie. Hi, gorgeous beings. Jim Forsyth, there you are. If this is a helpful love stream, please share. We love we, Mr. Sandal VZ. And I am coming through a Stargate portal to have tea with you, so I hope you're expecting me in the studio. Yes. Okay. So let's jump in. Good to see everyone. And hi Kelly Jean, there you are. There you are. Yay. Family. All right. I think we should go outside because it's beautiful. It's a little bit cold, but we will go there. Here we go. Take you into the garden with me from the tiny home. Doo-doo. This is my little altar. Look at those pine cones. Nature. We love we. Yes, we do. So, this is a really important, amazing love stream. And there's so much amazing energy coming into the field for the collective consciousness. So, Flight Lessons 101 and how are we navigating? Look at, this is our whale rock. You can't really see right now. Let me just show you the whale rock while a few more people are jumping online. It's very cute. See if we can get the whale in here. It's quite big. He's actually got a dorsal fin on him and everything. So we're going to sit by the whale for this love stream. Thank you, beautiful garden, forest, nature. All right, see how long we last in this nice, brisk temperature. So, can I talk about what I explained on the speaker transmission? Which transmission, Alon? We do have a topic today, and I would love to answer that question also. Just tell me which speaker transmission you are asking about. Okay. So here we go. Let's all take a breath together and know that we are already in a unified field of consciousness. A field that connects and pervades all things. The first and most important principle of nature is that everything is connected. So, hi Michael. Everything is connected. So we're just going to do kind of a rapid little Flight Lessons 101 to help the consciousness understand why, what, and how we are doing what we are doing to create the new earth, and that this is a participatory process. Okay. So in the participatory process, this is how it goes. A lot of these teachings we have been working on for a long, long time, but we're going to go from the bottom up, so to speak, or the foundation of the teachings of Flight Lessons 101. Okay. So first and foremost is stilling the emotional waters of the body. So we have these lovely things called emotions in our life, which are energy, and we gave them meaning. In society, we had all these agreements that this type of energy means sad, this type of energy means mad, this type of energy means happy, and so on. So those were all agreements. Everything is about consensual agreement, and it is all these agreements we are releasing and letting go of from something that we called a reality. And we are the transformers of the reality by transforming the meaning that we give to the silly putty of the universe called energy. So it's like a bunch of little kindergarten kids in class, and you create a bunch of things with the silly putty, and then you put it all back in a pile, and we're starting a game. So that's the fun of it. And that's why we participate in the process. So first and foremost is a reminder in every miracle stilling the emotional waters of the body. So that doesn't mean suppressing our emotions. It means working with what we are experiencing and keeping it contained within. We are working to become sovereign beings. Step number one of being sovereign is not projecting our energy. It is about learning to work with our energy. We are creator beings of creation, and creation is made up of energy. And so we are learning to come back to that place of remembrance of how to work with energy. So the moment that we feel triggered, step number one is do not project the trigger on something outside of the self, because by doing that, it empowers that thing outside of the self to become more real. This is how thought and creation come together. We place our focus and intent on something, we energize it with emotion, and then it becomes real. Think golden apple, produce golden apple in the palm of the hand. Let's call ourselves the A team, the ones tuning in for these love streams. A as in think apple, produce apple in the palm of the hand, because this is who we are. We don't need a financial system, borders, boundaries, passports, taxes in between us and creation. So we love those parts of us in neutrality, and we are releasing them. So as we are releasing them, we are creating something new. We are creating or we are listening to the cymatic that is coming through from creation to remind us that there is a new snowflake in formation for each one of us to find our place, like synchronized swimmers do in formation. Find our place in the new cymatic creation that creation has been sending through for eons. In fact, time doesn't exist. So the creation is already here and always existed. Okay, so step number one, Flight Lessons 101, triggers are a beautiful thing, because I always say it is God serving us up another portion of light. Are we going to take the light in and work with it, or are we going to be the baby at the baby high chair table flinging the food on the wall? That is the nourishment that creation is giving us. So creation looks to us like, I've used this metaphor many, many times. I haven't used it in a while. Creation looks to us as though we are the baby in the high chair and is testing. Can we take more energy into our system, because we are made of light and the light is turning on. So creation goes, here's a little bit of food on your baby chair high table. Are you going to use it? Are you going to work with it, or are you going to fling it on the wall? That's called a projection. Don't fling it. If this love stream is helpful, please share it. And if you are loving it or liking it, please also love and like it, because that is called a flow of energy. And that is something the guidance said to mention on these love streams. For those who are watching that they don't like it, it's okay. Go somewhere else, because there's probably another system or fractal pattern that that person is supposed to be at. It's not personal, like the Hopi prophecy said. Take nothing personally at this time. If you like it or you love it, please also also touch, like, and love, because that is what is helping these messages to go farther and further into the collective consciousness. So just give a little something back with all your little loves, and at the end or at some point just hit that little like or love button. Now this is, I am full transmission, my mouth is closed if I'm not speaking transmission. So these are steps and guidance from Source of how to do what we came here to do, which is very profound to the mind of the two-strand DNA, but that's okay. It's called multidimensional. So back to the baby chair and the high table. First things first, emotional waters of the body. Still the emotional waters of the body, by working with the serving of light that creation is giving us, by giving us the little trigger. That's what a trigger is. A trigger releases energy, and the moment that we attach it to something called an emotion that has a storyline that goes back through eons of time of humanity's ancestral wounding, when we feel anger, we're not just feeling anger in the miracle or the moment, so to speak. We are feeling the anger of all of the bloodlines all the way back to point of origin. So we are redirecting the energy back to zero, back to neutral. That is what stilling the emotional waters of the body means. It doesn't mean denying that the emotion is there. It means going, oh goody, I just got an injection, an infusion of energy, and I get to transform it because I am a Jedi transformer, and this is what I came here to do. Give ourselves new roles, new titles, new ways of looking at things so that it's fun and exciting instead of being same old, and pulling us back into the past, creating more of the same old. Okay. So, emotions are good. It is energy, and we are the redefiners of the energy. And so, the old story is over. We know this. Yes, we love me. I can't see Marie. There you posted. Kelly Jean, yes. Okay, so every single miracle, every moment is the moment that we work with our energy. This is all about learning. And every miracle, where is every iota of my energy going? Where is it? Tracking. Those who live with me, some of the golden ones in this golden pot who are helping to bring forth the messages, know what it is like to live with unity grace. Source is coming through in transmission. Miss Eloan and Ruthie Joy get to enjoy it all the time with me. Source is continually coming through to help us perfect. And so sometimes the crew will go, wow, I thought I was doing pretty good. And the guidance goes, yes, you are doing really good. And let's perfect this. Because perfection is what we're going for in terms of alignment. Alignment is very significant in what we are talking about here. So what is alignment about? Alignment is about coming, oh, those clouds in the sky are quite interesting. Alignment is about coming into attunement with the blueprint that we're in, because the blueprint, this is why the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd and Human Design by Ra Uru are so poignant and helpful in coming to the understanding of what our chocolate mold looks like. But we are not the chocolate mold. We are breaking the mold down. We are breaking the mold. So come in a tiny home for a little bit of warmth. Here we are. Have a little seat. Okay, so understanding the blueprint helps us to come into alignment with it. See, the only thing that we are in resistance to is our own blueprint itself. There is nothing outside of the self. The blueprint is the original agreement we made with Source. And so the guidance came through with a wonderful definition yesterday of physical ascension. Physical ascension means to come into perfect alignment with the vehicle that we came into, such that we get to ride the vehicle out in full conscious awareness, because all of the vehicles are being taken back to Source. Resistance is futile. It's a happening thing. We all know it. And so to receive that definition of what physical ascension is very cool to say. Physical ascension means coming into full conscious awareness of the blueprint we're in, the Lexus, the Volkswagen, the whatever, the blueprint, the personality, the ego, and not resist it, but come into alignment with it. Because if you resist the car you're driving, you might not drive very well. But if you come into alignment with the good things about the car, and maybe there's things you don't like, hi Kathleen, Harmony Bell, maybe there's things about the car that you're not so crazy about, but that's okay. We don't have to get overreactive about it. Just come into alignment with it. And then in coming into alignment with it, we can transcend it, which means full conscious awareness means you can be in the blueprint. This is in all the ancient teachings. You just know that you're in a role in the play, but it no longer bothers you what your role is because your consciousness is now already ascended. See, this is what ascension has happened with ascension so many times, is the consciousness is ascended. This is physical ascension. It's different. So it means the consciousness is now ascended into the higher realms. This is why I have some great conversations with Lawrence Wendell the last couple days, and we met Miracles Ago at Ions in 2011, and now I've found some other amazing connections which I'm excited to share with other people because you were all at the same place at the same time. And so this thing about what is it to one people's public trust in all these things, what does it really mean from the perspective of just little old me inside of my human body, and how do I put all this together, never mind all the distractions that were outside the self, like work and money and taxes and all those things. How does one do it? This is how one does it. Shortcut through. Still the emotional waters of the body. Understand the blueprint that we're in. Buy the Gene Keys book, read it, don't get attached to it. Just don't get attached to your role. People go, oh my God, I got this role, don't worry about it. Just know how the car operates, and then still the emotional waters of the body by not projecting our triggers outside of the self, and realize that we are already a self-contained, self-sustaining, self-generating unit. God gave it to us. We just forgot that we could do everything inside of our own sovereign field. So this is how we are remembering it, by beginning to still the emotional waters of the body such that we can come into full conscious awareness inside of the vehicle that we are in, and transcendent, meaning the consciousness is already in the higher realms, operating fully through this physical flesh suit that appears to be in this place that we call here. Now we are in a conscious relationship with the blueprint and the vehicle, which then upgrades all the cells and opens them up. It turns on the DNA to higher frequencies. The body floods with light. Light is information. Information comes out of the mouth and in our actions and how we proceed in what we are doing. Okay, so any trigger, not that any of us are still having triggers, but there's some reason that I'm talking about this, so maybe some of us are. And if this love stream is helpful, please share it. And why don't you share it while it's live so others can join us too? Because that actually increases the expansion and momentum of the consciousness that we are giving to the navigational coordinates that are leading us through, called unity. Okay, so oh, Carla Bass, I just felt you. I don't know if you're present with us, but I just felt you here. So, as we learn to monitor every ounce of our energy, every iota, where is it going? Where is it present? Am I fully present to what I am with right now in this room? Because that is the only thing that truly matters. Because guess what? The more present we become to just what is in front of us right now with non-resistance, the more we can come into alignment with 0 point and close the eyes and I'm at your house for tea. This is the greater thing that we are doing here. It is called multidimensional, interdimensional. We have the power to open these gates. They exist within us, and then we reflect them outside of us. And these are the steps to how to do it. So, emotional waters of the body. We had an amazing transmission that came through for our pod yesterday, and it was all about Shik. It used to be that, it's probably still around, I don't know, but Shik in the days when I was a kid was where people went when they had addictions, and they went and they checked themselves in to break the addiction. So if you've forgotten and you're stuck in an emotional pattern right now, just go online and Google or YouTube, what the bleep do we know, and get a few little reminders there, because what the bleep do we know, Lawrence is making lots of comments right now, it's hard to read at the same time. It's the resonance attunement to the one-ment. Beautiful, love the words. Okay, and that is an example of our higher self speaking through us, because once the consciousness goes beyond and we're still in the physical flesh, which is called physical ascension, the languaging that starts to come through us is unique and different. It's called poetic genetics, and it's rhythmic, and it's what's coming through the space between the words that is actually doing the hologram restructure. Get that one into our heads and beyond. Okay, so if you're going through an emotional addiction and you go, I'm not addicted to this, I'm just really sad, I just broke up with my partner, why shouldn't I be sad? Guess what? It's a program to think we should be sad for days, months, weeks, years. That's a program, and it's not real, and we're transcending it. And this is how we do it, because being sad for years then means the hope of being happy for years, and we go back and forth, and it's called roller coaster. It's a vibration, it's a wave, and it's not real, and we are the ones who can change it, because guaranteed, shown by the guidance last summer when I was in Berlin at a Joe Dispenza event, the guidance said humanity had cleared the shadow frequency of the 47th gene, which is where the ancestral oppression was lying, where doctors, scientists, they weren't really scientists if they called 98% of our DNA junk, but that's okay. That was their role in the play. So we have fun with it. The guidance said the 47th gene of ancestral oppression was cleared last May in 2017 coordinates. So there is no sadness, there is no oppression left. It's just a program like Pavlov's dogs, ring the bell, their glands water. So we were addicted to emotions. So if you're stuck in an emotional pattern right now, go to YouTube. They did all the work on What the Bleep Do We Know. Just Google What the Bleep Do We Know and watch any excerpt from the movie to remember that the body becomes addicted like a heroin addict to certain chemistry or thought forms that we put out into it, and it becomes very effective and efficient at providing more receptors for the same chemistry that we put out over and over that reflects the thought. So then it becomes harder and harder to be happy when we're sad all the time, because the cells goes, you were putting all this sad chemistry out, so we made more sad receptors and we got rid of the happy receptors, and now you try to be happy and we only have 5 happy receptors and 10 million sad ones. So we as cells are kind of like your addicts, or we're really your indicators of who you are and what you're putting out into the world. We're telling you we need the chemistry that we readjusted to make you happy, which was sad chemistry. You kept telling us, I've got all this sad chemistry, I need the cells to take more of this in. Now you got to change it. So it's kind of like you got to go to the gym and work that muscle out. It takes some effort. So just stay with it. Stay with it. Use whatever tools we have to come into the point of stillness with the emotional waters of the body. Number 1 to Flight Lessons 101. Seems basic and still. Neutrality is neutrality, and the moment that we attain it and hold it in stillness, boom, whole brain state, higher self, is now fully embodied, and there is no longer resistance to the blueprint, and this is called physical ascension, because now we're having a love affair between our spirit and our flesh, and the vehicle, the original divine blueprint that we made with Source. It's called reconnect. In our wonderful conversation yesterday, Mr. Lawrence, we talked about the 369 and vortex math and how the 6 and the 3 became the duality, and we lost connection with the 9. So here's another thing. If you want to really activate your unity consciousness multi-D 9th wave, and let's do this and start having some real fun, like close our eyes and go see our friend for tea without walking across a border or getting on a plane or driving in our car. Come on, let's do it. So, how do we do it? This is how we do it. And call in Yogananda and Babaji, and call in Nikola Tesla, Otis D. Carr, call in all the greats who've done this. And there's many more. And call in the feminine ones whose names we were never given. That's okay. It was agreement. We all made the play together. Call them in. They came in all forms. In fact, they didn't come as though it's something from the past, because there is no such thing as time. Just saying. Hi, Donna. Donna just sent me a little private message. I saw Donna's little light ship taking off in a lucid dream. And Donna and I have never even met. So it shows that we who are joining here are connecting on many levels beyond the scene. Hi, Joyce. John Kennedy. Okay, so once again, if this love stream is helpful, please share it. And please tap the little like or love button. So, as we learn to become these masters of our energy, masters is not a word I really like, but people can relate to it. I like to use the word perfects or prefix, whichever one you like. But I like to say, as we become perfects of our energy, then we start to realize that nothing outside of us is really catching our attention as a distraction or triggering us anymore. Now our auric field is expanding. Now all of the mechanics of ascension are activating within us. It's very cool. These are the mechanics. Flight Lessons 101. Juniper, aloha, kawaii. So, there's Miss Jeanette, Masters of the Far East. Yes, exactly. Get the books, The Masters of the Far East, or just become the Masters of the Far East who traveled around playing with their Spidey gifts, which is what we're here to do. We're here to have fun with our Spidey gifts. So, because you know spiders, you see them flying through the sky. They're so cool. Mother Nature's creation, little spiders. Okay, so we are learning to understand, to get a feeling of what it feels to be tracking every iota of energy that is in our conscious awareness. Very cool. Just in our body, just in our cells, just in our brain, just in our organs, in our feet, in our hands, in our eyes, in our everything. Getting attunement to it. Then the quantum leap into space, the space between the particles, the space that connects all things. That is where the fun stuff really begins. So, first of all, it's this attunement to ourselves and monitoring in every miracle. Is there a program running, or am I fully present? And if I'm fully present, what am I experiencing energetically? And can I drop the names that I'm connecting to it, like sadness or anger or whatever, and just go, it's energy, and creation is sending me another serving of light. I must be doing well. I am going to hold this within. It's like being, I don't know, a juggler, except a juggler juggles, but it's the same kind of thing. It's like being able to hold it all in the conscious awareness simultaneous, and then you begin to feel true power of creation flowing through, versus force, which is what the old world was all about. And God bless the force, because the force helped to create pressure within us to actually come back to ourselves and go, there surely must be something more. And the surely must be something more is the participatory part that I am sharing with us. Lawrence, what did you say? No external government, which means mind control. Exactly. There's nothing outside of us. It is the thoughts and beliefs that we attune to and that we give our agreement to. So we get to change. Oh, sunlight's coming in. We'll just move forward a little bit. So we are the ones who get to choose where we place our focus. Now, let me tell you, I've had some amazing experiences with source creation, and I am here to share them. And so when I had one of my really wonderful ones, and it was captured on a brain map, which was pretty cool, I had a few of them captured on brain maps. When I went back to the original point of origin, one of the things that I saw and went, oh, I'm a messenger for this, to remind us that when we are in a place of suffering, we thought it had to go on and on forever. But just by changing our point of focus, boom, done. And that's how we do this. Keep changing our point of focus the moment we realize it is being placed on something that we do not love. Then shift it somewhere else. It's no different than driving a car. We're driving our Merkabas through space here. Space is creation. So we just quickly, like if you were driving a car, would you keep looking straight ahead or in the rear view mirror if there was a curve coming in the road? Well, you might not drive your car very well. It's the exact same thing with our thoughts and our focus. Our intent, where do we place it? We are the drivers. This is how we do it. Okay, so now that we are coming to this place of navigating all of our energy and holding it in the oneness of we and going, this is all me, it's all my creation, because why not? You can say whatever you want, but the moment you say it's the cause of something outside of the self, we're giving our power away to something outside of the self. And then we don't feel very powerful. We go back into that victimization, which no one is ever going into again, because that game and story is over. It's Shadow of the 55th Gene, but it's done and still. Just little reminders. So now we begin to empower our field. We feel more empowered. We feel more present. In fact, things start coming out of our mouth that we go, wow, did I really say that? Where did that come from? That was really profound. I'll tell you where it came from. It came from the higher self, because we came to a place of stillness. Hi, Morgan. Love you. Mwah. We came to a place of stillness within ourselves, where the higher self, if you think of it as being up above, just for a sake of a picture in our heads. Let's say the higher self is up there and it's trying to come down in, and we are running this way and that. And it's like if you're aiming for something, like the higher self is, because it loves us and it wants to come back in. The higher self is going like, wait, I can't keep up with you. You're going like all over. Just slow down, be still, and then I can come in. Stillness. That's why we work to still the emotional waters of the body, because once we do, then the higher self goes, oh, I have an opportunity to enter and pour some of myself into you. The divine marriage. That's what it is. And when it starts coming in and the little self down here starts to get it, it's really amazing. It's beautiful. It's love like no other. So the divine union marriage starts to happen when we learn to still, when we learn to watch the emotional waters and projection and triggers and all of that. Yes, we know this, and let this be a love stream to help every single iota of consciousness to know what we are doing. And if this is helpful, please share it. Okay, and tap the like or love button. So now we are starting to see the world in a different way, and we go, wow, it all looks like a play, a stage set. Because it is, and it's our creation. And now we are going to create something different. In fact, we already did create something different, and we're walking into it. And these transmissions are to help navigate and guide us, to understand, to trust, to know it's real and it's true. So, as we still, then when the little pieces of our emotional body victimization consciousness jump up, here's what we do. I'm going to share with you a key that is very big. Because suffering is suffering, and it can be persistent even when there is just a little bit of it. So first of all, we go, please God, help me in this suffering. So God sends all the messengers, and sometimes we turn our backs on them the moment they come to deliver the message. So first of all, we got to receive the message from the external world, from a place of neutral, to get what it really is. Everything is guiding us because everything is source consciousness. Hi, Ruthie. So we now are getting really good at flying our light ship and being in a place of neutral and stillness and observance. This doesn't mean acceptance of everything out there. It's an infinite potential. But the stillness allows us to then place our focus on what we consciously choose to create more of. So when we take our focus off what we don't want to create more of, it's less empowered by the collective. And I think we know a lot of things we don't want to place more focus on. In fact, we've been working on it for a long time in linear time. So now we are getting really good at this. And maybe just little bits and pieces of the old suffering creep in that we had attached to a story. And guess what? Whoever we are attaching our sadness or our anger or our happiness to, it's not really true. Everything is self-contained within us. It's all an internal experience. And attachment occurs when we attach it to something outside of us. Think golden apple, produce golden apple in the palm of the hand. This is who we are. We can produce whatever we desire. But as we ascend out of the lower nature desires, which produced duality. Polarization, to see who I am by the polar opposite outside of me. So, okay, next. Now we are really good. This is about Flight Lessons 101 and flying our light ship on Merkaba. So we're getting really good at it. We're getting really good at the stillness. The energy field is building. We're feeling really different. We're feeling really great. We look in the mirror. We're shining. We're radiant. The cells are awakening again, called Genesis. The body can restore itself. Now, when those little iotas of suffering might peep in, what do? Here's the great key. I kept us waiting a little bit. The biggest key is then you become the Bodhisattva. This is a key. Make note. Everyone make note right now. I'm giving a big key to us all. I'm sharing it, I'm not giving. But give was part of the transmission, so. We are sharing the biggest key. Once you get really good at this and stilling the emotional waters, and then just a little iota slips in of the old suffering programs, you say, please God, let me be a vessel to end all suffering. And that is the Bodhisattva. And the moment we make this wish with soul's consciousness, something extremely profound happens. We become so flooded with love and so flooded with grace that our entire consciousness takes a quantum leap. Because we have moved from the I to the we to the I. And when I say the I mean the divine, the one, the unified field that unifies all things. And when we make that prayer, let me be a vessel. When we sit in our bed with our stuffies, like I do with my unicorns, and I hold them and rock them, and just allow the love to flow through me, to bring an end to all suffering, suddenly portals start appearing in my room. We are each other's keepers because we are all one. There is only one of us here. And the moment that we desire to bring an end to suffering for all of life rather than just ourselves, is the moment we bring this story in totality to an end, which is already over. Let me be a vessel to end all suffering. If we all say this prayer together, we will open our eyes into the new earth that is spoken of in the 60th gene. When this 60th CD, as Richard Rudd says, ignites in multiple beings, it will be the ending of the world as we know it. And we will never have had to figure out how to do this. How do we bridge this money thing? How do we break the structures that's here? It's all coded in the 60th gene. Why did Babaji do it? Because Babaji probably reached a point where he said, please God, use me as a vessel to end all suffering. And that's what I do with my stuffy unicorns. Their names are all Kiss. I hold them in my arms and I imagine the people that I've walked by on the streets in the cold and all those things. I hold them in my arms and I just let the love pour through, because all is one, all is a hologram, and this is how one being can change it all. This is the power of prayer. Sometimes when we go into our meditations, because a lot of meditation gurus teach you to plant seeds in the field, like cars and houses and whatever. I would use a word here, I would have to say, pardon my French, but, you know, blank that, blank. It's not about that. It is about coming to a state of wholeness first and foremost within the self, restoring our original awareness with creation. One love. So we can stop along the way playing with creating all kinds of things, or we can just get there. Please God, use me as a vessel, as a bodhisattva, bring all suffering to an end, which means the completion of two-strand DNA, because suffering exists in duality and separation. It was a game for learning. Now, we are being flooded with profound light. We are light ships, Merkabas. We are being flooded with light. And this is our opportune miracle time. Let's look at the light. We are being flooded. Yes, the unicorns, you can see them in the window. We are being flooded with light to do this. The invitation I have for all of us is to go into our meditations and make these prayers and begin to set our coordinates on meeting each other for tea. Blueberry spirulina popcorn, like that. Meet each other in not only the fields, but come on, let's land these light ships together. Let's not get on more planes. Let's not get in more cars. These are the things. If we set our goals on, rather than producing another car, please God, in my mind movie, I've got a red Corvette and a great big house. In my heart movie, I'm coming to your house for tea by closing my eyes and opening them. In fact, your house is coming to me. It's kind of fun. Lawrence, what did you say? What you want to do and what your spirit wants to do through you may be conflict due to ego desires. Yes. Yes, that's the coming up out of the lower nature. That's the rising the Kundalini up. See, the sixth initiation, this is all mechanical. It's programmed in the 22nd gene of grace, hence why the guidance gave me the name Unity Grace. I didn't sit around looking through name books for it. It all came in a download one day when the guidance said that my body was programmed for physical ascension and that it would receive higher and higher templates of codes without having to go through the death process. And that it was my work as a humble servant to share them. So, the sixth initiation, the 22nd gene, the process of ascension is mechanical. It's textbook. And in the 22nd gene, the sixth initiation is the imbibing at the altar when the consciousness comes forth and gives itself over to the higher self in totality. And for most of us, it was a struggle. That was the true struggle we experienced here on earth. It was not between anything outside of us. It was us and the higher self. It's called the snake and the dove. It's the Kundalini coiled at the base of the spine, and the dove on top, Christ consciousness, which means whole brain state, means both hemispheres of the brain work together. And so the more whole brain state we become, and we've got lots of tools to do that, and I share them often. Cross your ankles, cross your wrists, close your hands, clasp your hands, close your eyes, deep breathe when you're feeling stressed. And when you feel a shift, open your eyes, because that puts you in whole brain state. And once you're in whole brain state, the Kundalini begins to rise out of the lower nature. The lower nature desires exist in the lower three chakras. This is all the test. So all the teachings share this with us. So when we go through the sixth initiation is when we finally give the reins back to the higher self. And the sixth initiation, this process I speak of, this incredible love that we experience of the higher self flooding the flesh, is the greatest love we experience in the human form. And Richard Rudd describes the sixth initiation as the greatest thing a human can ever experience. It's called love. It's called the bridal chamber of the higher self finally coming into the physical flesh suit. And when it does, all of our dreams, all of our desires, all of our memories, all of it dissolves away. It's textbook. So, as it does, then the higher self begins to come in and direct the avatar that we thought was a we, that we thought was an I. The higher self begins to come in and direct what is going on down here on what Shane Shima called a 3D chessboard. And I think we're past the 3D chessboard now for sure. The higher self begins to come in and speak a language that I mentioned before, poetic genetics. It begins to speak the codes of the cymatics that are calling us forth. And we go, how did those things come? Where is this all coming from? It's because the higher self is now, it's the dach. It's taken over the throat. It's taken over the voice box. Not really taken over. It's moved in because we passed and graduated through all the steps of the ascension sequence to allow it. And so, when the higher self comes in, guaranteed the higher self will have us make the prayer, let me be the bodhisattva, because the higher self knows exactly the higher sequencings of how to do this. The coding, please God, and you got to feel it, you got to know what this really means. You can't just say it mechanical, which is why a lot of the teachings and the churches and all of it became so mechanical, because there was no attachment to the real feeling of what this is. One must really feel the suffering. That is also programmed in the 22nd gene. The shadow is called dishonor when we turn away from our suffering so we don't feel it. Embracing the suffering is what actually allows us to ascend. It is a textbook process. It's mechanical. We embrace our suffering. We embrace others' suffering. We don't get lost in the suffering. We just get present to it. That's the piece I was talking about, holding all the energy in while being present to it. That is called embracing the suffering. And when we do, it it's all in the 22nd gene of grace. A higher essence comes in that brings, it's an involutionary process that starts to turn on the higher mechanics in the physical flesh. And now we are thinking the thoughts of God, because the voice of one is speaking through us. And now the people that we live with in our home or work with on projects, we're all getting the same intel, same miracle. Same. And it has been informing us all along. The process just gets more spectacular and awe-inspiring, because we look into each other's eyes and go, I just had this dream last. Oh my God, same. It inspires awe. And as it's inspiring awe, we are looking in each other's eyes in awe, going, and then all of a sudden the light bulbs go off, going, oh, there's only one of us here. That's why this part of the journey is the part to be savored, because we still have a sense of unique individuation while we are experiencing the oneness in all. This is the celebration. This is the miracle jubilee. So, has this been helpful? That came through the transmission as a question. The broadcast paused for a minute. We took a little break, just as I said, has this been helpful? Because I felt like it was probably time for completion, and then Facebook came up and said there was a poor connection. So, if this is helpful, please share. If you love and like it, please press those little buttons. Let's help to get this information out, because I'm doing my best to gift everything that is coming through me to assist the collective. Let us wrap it up with the final thing. When we go into our meditations, guaranteed, there is one thing to focus on, which is the dropping of the veils. Go into the blackness of space, which connects for a better connection. There we go. All right. Better internet connection. Let us meet for tea. No airplanes, no cars, no borders, no boundaries. Let us choose this in our meditations, because guaranteed this is something worth focusing on. My house comes to yours and yours comes to mine, because there is no movement occurring. It is beyond time, which creates distance. We love we. I love you. You love me. Aloha, and thank you for joining. And if this is helpful, please share. And let's end with our... All right, let's complete with our language symphony. Here we go. Koyanatia